Today, we're going to do a deep dive into focus. What is focus? Why it matters as a poker player? And more importantly, how to improve your focus. Now, I've had thousands of conversations with poker players over the years, and I'm yet to meet a poker player who doesn't say they'd like more focus. They'd like to increase their focus or to be able to focus for longer. I think we all realize that our ability to focus directly impacts our decision making. And most people, most poker players, leave their focus to chance. They have days where they feel very focused, and they have other days where their attention feels very scattered. So let's unpack what focus is, and let's go into some really actionable things you can do to start working on your focus directly after this video. So first of all, what is focus? Focus is the ability to direct and sustain your attention where you want it, and not letting distractions or irrelevant information creep in. All right, so at its core, it's your attention is where you want it to be. As a poker player, that means on the tables, on the action, on the hand in front of you. When focus is high, you're able to pay attention to what's relevant and to block out what's not relevant, things in your peripheral awareness, things in your environment, or distracting thoughts. So when focus is high, you pay attention to what matters. So what's the challenge? Why don't we just decide, I'm going to focus on this for the next 3 hours and it's job done? Well, first of all, we need to realize that the mind has a default, which is to be distracted. I say that because the mind is always scanning your environment. It's scanning your internal world for your thoughts and also your external world. And it's scanning your environment to figure out, is something interesting or is something important that may need more of my attention? So you can imagine your focus is having like kind of two different modes. One is what is at the center of your attention. That's got the most of your focal energy. And then we have things in the background, which we call in your peripheral awareness. All right, so you're always trying to juggle between what gets the center of your attention and what stays in the kind of background, what kind of runs in the background. And your mind is always trying to put things forward that could be important. All right, it could be, oh, I need to eat. What should I eat? It could be, oh, I haven't messaged my friend back. It could just be a distracting thought about checking a YouTube video or something that feels interesting. All right, so your mind's always giving you these options. And if you're not paying attention, I say attention in a different way, if you're not conscious and aware, this will happen very often and you will find yourself lost in distraction. You won't notice the switch between I was paying attention to this thing and now I'm lost in distraction. Maybe 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by, and you go, shit, I've been distracted, and you try and bring your attention back. All right, that's how most people function in their lives. They'll have points of focus and then points where they get distracted by other thoughts. So now we know that, okay, the mind is trying to scan things in my environment. We can also note that most of us are constantly checking things, checking phones, checking notifications, checking social media throughout our days. And again, we're now training the mind to look out for stuff. We're giving our brain quick dopamine hits that it likes. So again, these are now competing things. So when we're trying to focus on one thing, the mind's got all these exciting, interesting things that are potential options in the background. That's why you want to check the news, check social media, check stuff, because your mind's weighing up the option of what you're doing now versus something that could be more interesting, fun. So we had this predicament, and we're left with this distracted mind that is unable to focus when we want it to. So what do we do? Well, first of all, we need to realize that your focus is like a muscle, and you can train yourself to focus better over time. All right, this is really, really key. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much your focus will improve if you direct training towards it. So the first problem we need to solve is how to direct my attention. All right, how to put my mind on what I want it to. And this sounds very simple, but many people miss this part. They sit down to play poker and they expect themselves to be focused. Focused on what exactly? Focused on everything? Focused on playing good poker? All right, it's very generic. And the mind doesn't like that because now all the competing thoughts are competing with just general being focused. So the first thing we need is a focal object. What should I pay attention to? What should I not? So for yourself, as a poker player, you should try and create a focal anchor. And this often works very well as a question. So for yourself, think of something that when you're focused in game, that really helps you to make good decisions. It really helps when you're focused, you're thinking of this. For some players, that might be thinking about what is my opponent's range in this spot. Another player might think, where does the EV come from? You might also think along the lines of, what's the best exploit here? Or how can I play my hands in the best way? But something that like narrows your attention. All right, so think for yourself, what should you be focused on? What gives you a good framework for thinking? And for this, you generally want something that works for a lot of situations. All right, so like what is my opponent's range is very good because it can anchor you at any moment in time. In any moment in time, you can stop, return to that. All right, so first thing, set where you want your focus to go. Now, the next step is the important one, where you realize you're going to get distracted. All right, so you need to do two things. You need to spot distractions quicker, and you then need to return to your focus point quicker. All right, so if you think about being focused, rather than it being one clear thing, I was focused for 3 hours straight, it's moments of I was focused, then a distracting thought came in, I saw that, and returned back to focus. That's the reality. That's what's generally happening. So if you know that is true, you go, right, I need to give it something to focus on, my mind, and then I need to be able to spot distractions and bring my mind back to the moment. So 2 ways to spot distractions or train yourself to do them. The first is out of game, and then we bring it to in-game. So out of game, meditation is a great tool to train your focus. If you close your eyes and you try to pay attention to the air going in and out your nostrils at the nose, you try and watch the breath go in and out with your eyes closed, you might do a few breaths, maybe you do 10 breaths, but at some point, a thought will come up. And when that thought comes up, if you haven't trained yourself to spot thoughts, you get lost in thoughts. You get lost in the thoughts. All of a sudden, you're daydreaming, thinking about something else, and you're not paying attention to that simple air going in and out of your nostrils. So by meditating and training yourself to do this, you can get very good at spotting, oh, that's a thought coming up. Bring your attention back. All right? So remember, the goal of focus is to spot your attention's wandered and to bring it back. So meditation, just eyes closed, simple practice, watching the air go in and out your nostrils, and spot when you get distracted, bring it back. Now, this seems very simple. If you try meditating or you've done meditation for a long time, you'll realize, even as you've done it for many years, the mind still has a lot of thoughts, and you still have to bring your attention back over and over. But every time you do that, you're doing a rep for your focus muscle. All right, you're bringing your attention back, which is exactly what you need to do for focus. All right, so outside the game, meditation is the best tool to train that. Then you bring that to the tables. And now you start going, okay, now what I really care about is, can I keep my attention on the hands in front of me and not get distracted whilst playing? So now we bring the same skill set that you use very simply with meditation, and we bring the same practice to poker. So now we have that focal object. So in meditation, it's the air going in and out your nostrils. In poker, it's a focal point, which is often a question or something you return to. What's my opponent's range? Where's the EV come from here? Whatever works for you, but you've got an anchor. And now when you're playing, your goal is to spot when your mind has drifted. Spot any distracting thought that takes you away from poker. All right, at first, this is challenging. You've got a lot that you're thinking about, and you're not used to doing this. So at first, you'll make it distracted for 5 minutes at a time, maybe 10 minutes on certain occasions. But every time you spot it, the goal is to spot, oh, right now, I'm not focused, I'm distracted. Bring it back to my focal question. All right, and when you do that, that's a win. Every time you do that, that's like a bicep curl for your focus muscle. All right, so every time you spot a distraction and bring it back, win. Now, this is where a lot of people can make mistakes. If you get annoyed at yourself for being distracted, all right, if you negatively reinforce, oh my God, I'm distracted again, back to the focal object, that negative energy that you head towards that creates this effect where you almost train yourself to not want to be distracted. It's almost like you're punishing your mind for spotting distraction. All right, so you spot distraction, you go, oh my God, I'm distracted. You've almost like negatively punished the fact that you spotted it. All right, and this is really key. So what you need to do is when you do spot yourself you're distracted, you need to go, oh, nice, I've spotted I'm distracted, well done. Bring it back to the focal object. And you've got to positively reinforce that. All right, as humans, we're very trainable by positive and negative reinforcements. And most people will negatively reinforce the spotting of being distracted. And that's never going to work. So you need to positively reinforce, yes, well done. I got distracted, I bring it back. And your goal throughout your day, throughout your session, is to do as many reps as you can. So if you got distracted 30 times, you spotted it 30 times, and you brought it back, awesome. You've done 30 reps for your focus muscle. Amazing. You could easily frame that the opposite way and go, oh my God, I was so distracted today. So when you're most distracted, that's when you're doing the most training for your focus, because you're bringing it back every time. So really make sure you positively reinforce and make it a game, a very curious game of, oh, distracted, bring it back, and you don't judge it, because that's one of the biggest downfalls I see players making, and it leads to, getting harder and harder to spot distractions, and you end up not even realizing you're distracted for long periods of time. So reinforce it. And then all you do is just keep repeating that process. Keep repeating that kind of training of spot distractions, bring my attention back. Spot it, bring it back. All right? So we've done something very important here. We've realized that the mind will jump between what we're trying to pay attention to and to other things, whether it's thoughts, whether it's something in your environment, but something that's competing with that attention span. Rather than thinking that's not going to happen or hoping it doesn't, we get ourselves ready. We go, okay, I know that'll happen. I know my mind will get distracted. I'm ready. And then as soon as you get distracted, you spot that and you bring it back to what you're focused on. Every time you do that, you strengthen your focus. Now, there are other things you can do to optimize your focus, from playing at the right times when your focus is higher, from priming your mind to be in a higher focal state, to priming your physiology, so you have the energy to be able to focus at a high level. But in terms of something actionable you can do to improve your focus right now, this is what you need to work on. Now, if you would like to go deeper, if you would like to spend some time really working on the skill of focus for a prolonged period of time in the right environments, with myself coaching you and other poker players working alongside you, I have an opportunity coming up that could be just what you're looking for. I'm reopening my Poker Athlete program for the first time this year, and I'm going to be taking a small group of players to work closely with and help you train each of the 8 Poker Athlete skills. This is the third skill we work on, which is focus. And we spend a full week on each skill, going deep into it. You'll have training programs, you'll have progression to go from a beginner to an intermediate to an elite in each of the skills. There's live sessions with me, there's accountability in a group environment. And I found, after doing this for many years, so many players can make amazing progress with these skills if they just direct enough attention to it, which fits nicely with the skill of focus. And spending time in the right environments alongside other players, where you've got accountability, you've got a support system, but you've also got a framework to really follow. And my kind of goal is to create the ultimate frameworks for you to really understand skills at a high level, but actually to work on them. So on these YouTube videos, I can teach you the outlines, but if you really want to go deep, the Poker Athlete program could be the fit for you. So drop your application using the link below.